Welcome to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM. I'm your host, Shami Lochan Lal, and today I have with me the Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Josefa Koroi-Vueta. Doctor, welcome on Speak Your Mind today.
Thank you very much, Shami. It's a pleasure to be here, and we are really honored to be accommodated at this slot to speak to the country.
Thank you very much. So, PS, the ministry received a sum of $113.4 million in the 2017-2018 national budget, an increase of $46.9 million, I think. So what does the increase in budget mean to the ministry?
It means quite a lot. It means that we have now to put in place a mechanism to ensure there is proper execution of the programs that the government have trusted the ministry to implement. And it basically, what it comes down to is there will be wide penetration of the communities. There will be a better reach of people that deserve to be helped, people in need. There's an extension of the social protection program. And more excitingly, the government for the first time have put out a human touch basically to people living with disabilities with a new allowance that has come into place.
So how will it help the people with disabilities with this new budget?
The people with disability, Shami, they need special care and they have special needs, especially their daily needs with diapers, with toiletries, with bathing, and this costs money. The allowance given of $90 per person or per client will help the family looking after them. They have basically, this allowance will be given to people who need full-time caregiving, people with permanent disabilities, people who are bedridden. And we feel that we have quite a lot in our country.
Is the ministry able to reach out to people in rural areas and islands, especially to those with disabilities?
That will be a particular focus for us in the new financial year. We'll be actually putting in a massive reach program to ensure that we'll be able to reach every community and ensuring that no one that deserves to be assisted under the scheme is left out.
Okay. So when we talk about people with disability, does it also include students in schools too? And how does the ministry help them?
Yeah, that's for those who qualify under the permanent disability. So it's only for those who are permanently disabled.
Okay. So more than 80% of the budget is focused on the social protection programs.
Correct.
Some of the major ongoing initiatives of the ministry are the various schemes. How about let us look at various schemes and talk about this. Who qualifies under the poverty benefit scheme?
Okay. Poverty benefit scheme was a new program reinvented in Fiji by the World Bank way back in the 2013 because we needed to transform the social protection agenda. Formerly, it was individual based. The allowance was given based on for a particular person, and it was pretty loose in criteria. And
when you say it was pretty loose, what do you mean?
There was a lot of flaws, and there was a lot of wastage of government resources. People that really did not qualify were somewhat accommodated within the scheme. So we put in a very stringent criteria, and for this time we are now focusing on households. So for every recipient, we target the household. So it's household focused. So that means when we say that we have 23,000 beneficiaries, there's 23 times 4. So you're looking at 92,000 Fijians that are being assisted.
So under the poverty benefit scheme, is there a document requirement as to how much you earn, etc.? What are some things that the ministry looks at?
Yes. We basically looking to help those who are the poorest of the poor. And it's a means tested for that particular matter. And there's a criteria that we go out. It's under change at the moment because a lot of it was basically an assessment of the white goods that the family. And we do know that white goods do not translate into earnings. And some of the white goods that families have been disqualified for under this criteria were basically gifts or things that they've earned in their earning years.
So does the food voucher come under the poverty benefit scheme? Is it part of that?
Yes, food voucher comes under the poverty benefit scheme. For every beneficiary, they will get a cash allowance plus a $50 food voucher.
So what's the eligibility criteria for food voucher schemes?
As long as they qualify for the PBS, it goes together. The cash. So for PBS, the cash allowance plus the food voucher are the two components that go together.
Okay. So food voucher scheme is a separate monetary value compared to the PBS, what you're saying. Is that how you'd explain?
Yes, it's for a different purpose. It's basically for purchase of food for the family, and we have a list.
Okay.
But in the new year, as has been announced clearly by the Honorable Minister for Economy, we are opening it up. We are no longer having any restrictions except that the money cannot be used to purchase liquor.
Okay.
It won't be used to purchase grog or even cigarettes.
Okay. So if there is anyone who's listening us now and you want to call and ask questions, our number on Gold FM is 3220906 and 3220907. P.S., would you explain further if anyone is listening now and they want to find out more about poverty benefit scheme, or they have someone who is their next door neighbor and they want to help them out, how do they go about doing this, accessing help?
Okay. Any of the ministry service delivery outlets, any of the offices within your districts close to you could be the best place for you to actually call in to get advice whether you really qualify. Okay. Apart from this, Shami, we're also going to undertake a massive review of people that are already on the scheme to see that whether they still deserve to be beneficiaries or they should be graduated out of the scheme.
Does the ministry have any program to educate them or to encourage these people to find a job and not be dependent on this scheme?
Yes. We have what we call a welfare graduation program where we encourage beneficiaries to be able to be self-reliant, to partake in the SMEs or income generating, starting their own business for that matter. And we give them a lead time of 6 months.
Have you seen any success stories in this area?
Yes, we've got some successful stories. And we work with Ministry of Industry and Trade, with some of the banks, even with NCS Med, and also through the Department of Women. Our key focus, Shami, is basically promoting self-reliant Fijians in our country, as this is one of the key values of the Fijian government.
Okay. We'll take a break and it'll be interesting. I'd like to know that are people actually cooperating with the ministry's initiative where you're trying to tell them, hey, let's get educated, or providing them assistance of finding new jobs? What is the culture like in Fiji? Are we able to have a breakthrough in this area? Also, we'd like to know after we come back from this break is this social pension scheme. And if you are facing any challenges in this area, please do call us after the break on 3220906 and 3220907. We'll be back right after this short break. Phone number you can call right now is 3220906 or 3220907. I have with me the Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Josefa Koroi-Vueta. Dr. Earlier we were talking about the poverty benefit scheme. So do we see people with a bit lax attitude in this area, or they are continuously dependent on this scheme? Have we seen the number grow, or there has been more people thinking, okay, we need to get a job, we need to be self-sufficient? What is the culture like?
I think you've hit the nail there, Shami. If you look at the landscape that we have in our country, we have a culture of free handout mindsets. And I think our hypothesis is that it's somewhat been propagated over the years. And people have come to live with it as an acceptable behavior in life, which is not. And it's one of the key issues that we're targeting, especially those who are beneficiary of the scheme. In fact, we took a strong stand and said that no one should be a lifetime beneficiary. They need to qualify and requalify after 3 years. And we need a strong, robust review system to ensure that people that are in the scheme do not abuse it and there's no double dipping. Because after all, it comes into wastage of taxpayers' money. And shortly, we will be launching a new call facility to basically, we would like to encourage reporting now of people that abuse the system.
That's good.
Yeah.
So ministry also has the social pension scheme for senior citizens. How does this work?
This is given to, in the new financial year, it'll be given to, it's individual based. It'll be given to senior citizens over the age of 65. In the current year is 66, so in the next financial year, this is being reduced to 65. And everybody that is over 65 and does not receive any form of pension from any other sources, whether it's FNPF or whether it's from the aftercare fund or from the sugarcane, they can always apply for this social pension scheme, and it amounts to $100 per month. And it's an increase of 100% basically from what they're earning right now.
So how many, roughly how many senior citizens would be under this scheme at this moment as we speak?
Yeah, we were looking at about 23,000 at the moment. With the new scheme, we're looking to accommodate another 8,000.
And are these mostly urban-based, they're based in urban areas or mostly in rural areas, the senior citizens who are benefiting from this?
They are widely distributed throughout Fiji, in maritime, but I think population-wise, more of them would be in the Viti level and also Fono level, and a smaller portion would be in the maritime islands.
If we look at the ethnicity, what would be the ratio?
Yeah, the ratio is more or less 50-50.
Okay.
Ethnicity-wise, but we are all Fijians.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Yes. So while I was preparing this program and we were running pre-sales on Gold FM, I had a caller from Nosori was asking me, she encountered this, went to the Nosori social welfare to get a voucher for this elderly person. I think it was a food voucher scheme or the pension scheme. She was told that if this lady, I think she's about 70 years old, if she's living with her sons or grandchildren, she doesn't qualify for this, even if she's living, doing her cooking separately. And if the son or the grandchildren are not supporting her in this area, then the mother could take them to court. So, which means that not every elderly person does qualify for this scheme?
As I said, principally, if they are over 65,
yes,
and they do not have any other form of pension, they certainly qualify.
So what happens in this situation with this story?
Yeah. Some of them we deal with it case by case. We have dealt with cases of family dispute, whereby it's un-Fijian to expect our elders to cook for their own.
Yes.
It's not us. That's not the moral value that we have in our country. I think it's the impact of change that has happened, of adaptation and also civilization. Key focus for us is to ensure that our old people age in the family that they have built over the years.
Yeah. So looking at this individual case where the lady is over 70 years old and has been living with her son but cooking separately, she has been denied of the benefit.
Exactly.
And it's not, I mean, any elderly person, whether a parent, a mother, father, would not go to court taking her son. Then why isn't she still not being held by the social welfare? Does the ministry have any kind of monitoring scheme where they go and check and educate the social welfares in different towns of how to go about helping these people?
Yes, we have a new initiative coming in, basically to continuous professional development of our staffs. And not only that, but also in terms of conflict resolution.
Yes.
We need to capacity build our people so to be able to handle the load, the pressure that comes in with the work. We're dealing with people.
Yeah.
They need to be managed as people.
I know the social welfares must be facing their challenges.
Yeah.
But what if someone who's uneducated and is very vulnerable goes for help and is denied, or they do not know what to do? Where should they go? Where should they go for help next?
Okay. We have, I've given my number freely, 9905-408. Soon we will be taking in, a call facility, okay? And that it does not stop there. They've got higher authority that they can raise it up. Okay.
So how is the ministry dealing with the pending applications for the scheme? Do you have any, like when it comes to poverty benefit scheme and senior citizen scheme? We'll come to this question after break, Doctor. So stay with me on Speak Your Mind and do call us if you have any questions related to this topic here on 3220906 and 3220907 on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM's show. Welcome back on Speak Your Mind. I'm your host, Shami Lochanlal, and I have with me the Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Josefa Poroi-Vueta. Doctor, we were talking about the pension scheme. Is there a backlog or pending applications for the scheme? And how is the ministry looking into that?
Yeah, we have some pending, and it's in our business focus to ensure that the processing times are very much reduced.
What is the current processing time?
Current processing time is up to 3 months, which to me is not acceptable, to be very honest. You're dealing with people who are the senior citizens.
Much needed.
Much needed, yes. Absolutely. That's why they came forth to apply. So in the new year, we will certainly be doing business process reengineering. And the key focus there to have a smarter processing time, to be able to tell people that your application will be processed in this defined timeline.
So we're talking about next year, or we're talking about this year? It's going to happen soon.
Next month.
Next month. Oh, that's good. So how will you be able to do that? Do you have enough manpower? Does the ministry have enough people?
We have to work smarter. We have had an increase in human resources, and we're not complaining. But to us, it's making use of what we have and finding smarter ways of doing business.
So the pending application schemes which we are talking about, is it all areas like poverty benefit scheme and the senior citizens and the food voucher scheme? Is it in all the areas, or
yes.
There are certain areas where you have had victory?
Yeah, there are certain areas we've made a difference, where basically we did a massive outreach. So basically, instead of waiting for people to come, we basically take the service out.
Okay.
And this will need partnership with a lot of agencies. It'll need partnership with BDM, with PG Election Office, with Health, and also providing a smart IT platform for us to be able to do on-site processing.
Okay.
We have modelized this in the form of a mobile bus that we have 3 right now. It's a very high-tech bus. Whereby people can actually come in, both for legal services, counseling for domestic violence, positive parenting, any of the child services, even to apply. So on-site processing. But what we found is we need a more smarter IT platform to be able to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's come back to the pension scheme. So under the pension scheme is the pension, the money which the older citizens receive. And is food voucher a different scheme altogether, or the pensioners get only pension scheme?
Yeah, thank you, Shami. I think that's a very good question. Senior citizens do not get a food voucher. What they get is a cash allowance. On the belief and on the understanding that they're with their families. Yeah, the money is just to help them with their day-to-day needs. It's not a complete replacement of the care that they should be getting in the family.
Okay, but even so, they can still get the pension scheme, which is minus the food voucher. You're saying this amount, even if they're living with their families too. they still qualify for that.
Absolutely.
So how do they access to this money? Do they come to the ministries as social welfare officers, or do they have to go to certain supermarkets or banks, etc., in the areas?
Yeah, I think you are very smart, Chami. I think that'll be the way to go, to have more accessible service points. At the moment, it's just access is to our offices, where we try to facilitate, all the processing.
So at the moment, they just go to your office. How about someone had called from Nassori again asking that they'd seen a sign in a bank saying that if you want to access to your voucher scheme or pension money, go to the ATM or go to a particular supermarket. Do you have such arrangements too?
Yes, we've actually promoted electronic banking. So before it used to be a very paper-based, a payment that's given out on a voucher. And we found that people were waiting long queues in our offices. So we have crossed the bridge, and a lot of our beneficiaries now have got bank cards. And they can redeem their money from any ATM outlet.
But these are, most of the senior citizens may be illiterate. Are they able to use the cards?
Yes, they have made arrangements with the families on the understanding that, it's either their grandchildren or even their son or even their daughter will be able to access it through the ATM.
Okay. So there is another scheme which the ministry has, is the rural pregnant mothers. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, this scheme was cooked up in the earlier days to promote early booking of expecting mothers. And it's undergone a lot of restructure. And we've actually came from used to be a 21-point processing system, now just to a 3-point. So it's for pregnant women from rural areas, but they register first at the nearest health facility. Once they are registered there, then it's just a matter of referring back to the ministry for us to facilitate the payment.
How do they qualify? Is there some criteria?
We have a defined list of rural population, and from which health facility they should be coming from.
So for all the schemes you have, there are different ways of accessing to the assistance in these areas, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, with the increase in pension schemes and in services, how do you see it improving the lives of older persons, especially?
Okay.
Because that has been the major concern in this country.
In fact, most of the consultations we've had, and most of the time, it's the old people that have been crying out to government to increase it. And we are so happy that the government has given lavishly for them from a $50 to $100. We have been receiving, calls of gratefulness, appreciation to the government already. And it was given on intention, it helps them with their basic needs, even for their traveling, even to buy things for themselves, and not to be totally dependent on the family. Okay, so, but I think now with the increase, I think more attention, if you're looking at the other side, more attention now will be given to the older persons.
Do you also face challenges whereby you get calls from the senior citizens where they report of abuse in any way, where the money is not used or has been sadly taken by the families?
We've had some calls, and we've taken the people to task in that regard, and basically in the form of counseling, and said what you're depriving the older person is what the government has provided. In fact, you should be contributing more to what the government has provided for the older person.
Thank you, Doctor. We'll take another break, and we'll be right back on Speak Your Mind. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, and with my guest here, Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Josefa Koroivueta. Doctor, in Fiji we see sometimes the careless attitude we have towards our senior citizens. What would be your word of advice to children?
Yeah, I think we need to treasure them as they've treasured us in educating us, bringing us into prosperity in our lives, bringing us into a career, into a profession that we're now enjoying, and even building us to have families. If you don't treasure that, you will have a regretful haunt in your life that will haunt you. It's not wise just to know your parents at a time when they have passed away. The most important thing is to be with them, care for them, love them, give them the respect they deserve for the time that they need it. And it's only for a short period of time before we say goodbye to them. And to the children who are disrespectful to your parents, you can make a change.
Yeah.
And I appeal to you to see that where you now was from your parents.
Absolutely. And I think by looking after our senior citizens and taking our responsibilities as children, every religion tells us to honor our parents. I think this is going to help the government of the day.
Yep.
And if we know our responsibilities and we do it, because our parents have looked after us. Where we are today is because of their hard work. Most of them were uneducated, but they did invest a lot in us by educating us. So it's time that we take care of them. And while we're talking about this, I'd like to ask a question. Where does the bulk of the money, which scheme benefits the most under the poverty, senior citizens? Where is more money pumped into?
It's in the social protection, which is basically a combination of poverty benefit scheme, child care and protection allowance, social pension scheme, and also the expanded food voucher. But when you're looking at social protection per se, it's not just a social protection program. And a big contribution basically comes in when we have empowerment of women. Empowerment of women can lead to poverty alleviation. It can lead to improved livelihoods in families, better education, better financial support to the not only to the family but to the community as well. Because we know building up women makes a big difference, a lot of difference, and we've seen it.
So how do you execute these plans? Does the ministry have programs whereby you visit women in rural areas or reach out to these women to educate them? What are your plans?
Yeah, we actually had established a new network for women because we found the previous networks were either politicized or they're somewhat divisive. And it was only to one particular group. For example, the Songsogo Marama was just for the Itoke women, not for the Indo-Fijian, not for the Rotuma, not for women from Kiowa, not from Rambi. Now we've gone past that bridge. We now have on our books now about 1,300 registered women's group in this country, and we're still expanding. And our next phase is now to reach out to women in all the faith-based organizations because they are strong pillars in that particular area.
Yes. I think the Ministry for Women also announced that Women's Expo every year, which was held in Suva, I think it will continue to happen there. But you have plans to extend this market to the rural communities now.
Exactly. And now we have now dovetailing mini expos to some of the regional forums that we host in this country. Actually, basically to expand the benefits of an expo and ensuring that women get the most, out of the expo. When you look at the financial earnings from this expo is over 400,000, and you look at the other benefits, it far outweighs what we had invested. It was much more. We were able to graduate people to be Fijian-made artisans, and that basically opens up the door for their connection to markets. They are registered, Fijian women artisans in Fiji.
So if a woman wants to start up her business and she wants help from the Ministry of Women, what does she have to do? How do you go about accessing this help?
We are readily available to help any Fijian woman who's a go-getter, who's got a business going, even for expansion of our business. Even though our funds are limited, we try to dish it out so that we have increased numbers. Initially, it was focused on the women's group, but there were some certain issues with some of the women's group. We found that there was the return of investment was not much, and therefore they couldn't make a salary out of it. And now we are looking now to support individual women entrepreneurs.
Okay. Just lately, the ministry had launched a helpline. The child helpline, is it working for the ministry? How many calls do you receive? Who are
Yes.
these children, under what age bracket?
Okay, thank you, Shami. By legal definition, any person under the age of 18 is considered as a child. The facility is managed, it's an outsourced facility. It's outsourced to NGO Medical Services in the Pacific, MSP, and the last data was something like about 4,000 calls. One of the things they have to separate is which ones are genuine, which one are hoax calls, which ones needed referrals, and it's a professionally delivered service, and we have a referral providers ready online. So we have the Fiji Police, we have the Ministry for Health, we have Fiji Women's Crisis Centers, we have MSP. So whether they need counseling, whether they need education, whether they need medical referral or police, it's all through the helpline.
So was it alarming to know the number of calls you got through child helpline? Was the
No.
ministry expecting that, or did you think the number would be less? What was the...
We expected it because we know that child abuse is an issue. And in fact, it was put in place basically to break that silence.
What kind of cases do you get? What do they call and report?
Yeah, most of the cases were basically on sex abuse. They sexually abused children. Some with physical harm, some with psychological, some with medical conditions, and some with neglect. So there's a mix.
So have you seen the number decreasing, or because of awareness you see more people calling now?
We don't expect to see a decrease for the time being because we are raising a lot of awareness. And I think we need to hit it on the nail, and that is basically for us promotion of positive parenting.
So if people are listening now on Speak Your Mind and through FBC television on Speak Your Mind, what is the number to call, and when can they call? Is it any time of the day? Services is available?
Yeah, thank you, Shami. It's a 24-hour facility. The number to call is 1325.
Okay. And someone is always there to tend to calls?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll take another break, and then we'll be coming back on Speak Your Mind with our last segment. If you wish to call, please do call us on Gold FM 3220-906 or 3220-907. Welcome back on Speak Your Mind. This is our last segment, and I have with me the Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Josefa Koroi-Vueta. So, Doctor, the ministry received a lot of money too, and they've been helping people who have faced with difficulties during the Cyclone Winston. So the help for home initiatives, how has the ministry kept a track of all those who need help and have received help? Are there more people who are still waiting in line?
Yeah, we are on the final mopping phase now, Shami. We have assisted, the government have assisted over 35,000 families already, and they were 12 key priority affected areas. And it's places like Televu, Ra, Ba, Tavua, Lautoka Yasawa, bit of Mua and bit of lower part of the Kaunra of Savu, Taviuni, Ngamea Data, Vonomalavu, Koro, and the Lamaviti group. They were fairly demarcated areas, and it was based on the NDMO survey. Through aerial surveillance, they were able to actually make the boundary map for the key priority affected areas. We've just finished the Northern Division. The government have already invested in 3 phases. The HFH funding, It was 87 million in phase 1. It was 25 million in phase 2, and then 20 million in this current phase. We're about to end, and on the record, we have got about 600 still pending in the West, which we will take care of this week.
Oh, absolutely. That's great. So the minister also announced that they'll be working with experts from Bangladesh for a project. Do you want to talk about this project?
Yes, this is an exciting project. It's like the world coming to Fiji. These are they are the world experts, basically on Aerong, that we wanted to help the Fijian women rise up to very high business competition level in connection to not only the local markets but also into the near. And they have engineered innovative mechanism to do it. So they will be here from the 6th of August. Team from Aerong, funded by them, but we will be taking care of. So basically, they want to see what we have, and they're going to put on the table what is best for Fiji.
So what happens after that, after the experts visit? Will there be some plan rolled out to invite some women, like you said about business women, will be partakers of this?
Yes. They will actually be speaking to quite a lot of women's group. People from Makoi Vocational Center, Bar Women's Forum, women in business, in some of the academic settings, women in different industries, even business leaders.
Will there be a fee attached to this, or will be free service provided by the ministry?
It will be free service. They will have a consultation, they'll have a look, they'll scope, and then there will be a special workshop devised for women, business women for this particular regard.
So when do we see this happening?
The final should be about the 16th of August.
Okay.
And then we will have a product that we'll have to put our heads together to ensure that it's actioned in Fiji.
Okay. The minister, Vuniwanga, said she was over the moon with her ministry's budget. The increase in allowance across the board will have a lot of happy Fijians, she said. So how do you monitor equal and fair distribution of the assistance to call all Fijians in urban and rural areas to ensure that we will have a lot of happy Fijians? Is it overpromising or is it achievable?
It's achievable. It's not only, it's the budget is an icing, as our minister has reflected upon, and she's very right, because never was a time when the ministry budget went over 100 million. So this is a 46 million increase, which is 70% increase in budget. And we know that, a little bit of this, because we know that the poverty in Fiji is not extreme poverty that we see, say in Sub-Saharan, say in Africa. It's not that, for us, the poverty we have is cash poverty. So this little bit of allowance given to people certainly will alleviate poverty. After T.C. Winston, we saw an increase in the number of applications, which is understandable. But some of the poverty is only a temporary. Poverty is never a permanent thing, and that if you help people out of their poverty, graduate them into self-reliance, not only they have a better livelihood, but they earn much more. Because this one you're looking at about a couple of $100 per month. In business, they can earn much more than that. For the expo, I know there was a group of women. In day one, they earned 22,000. So that's the power of using our resources, utilizing the skills that we have, and having a proper market.
Thank you. Yeah. Doctor, you come from a medical background, right, on a personal note, and now that you are the PS for the Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation Ministry, how does it feel working with the minister, a woman minister? I mean, is it a big difference? You enjoy your work?
Yeah, I enjoyed my work. We had to deal with gender. We had to learn from women, and I'm continuing learning. And I know I've had more gains, being learning under women leader, and learning also from women. It's exciting to learn from women because I know they see things with a different set of eyes. A men's eyes and a woman's eyes are totally different. They're absolutely different. And, to be able to have a balance of both, makes you a better person to serve.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming on the show today and for sharing a lot of things with which the ministry is doing, and good news for women and for pensioners. And if they do need help, please do get in touch with the Permanent Secretary for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, or the ministry's office, or the social welfare offices around Fiji and rural and island and interior areas. Thank you very much, Doctor, for coming on the show with us. I'll see you next week on Speak Your Mind with another guest. And my guest next week is the CEO of Fiji Roads Authority, Mr. Sen. So see you next week on Speak Your Mind.